Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path, broadcasting from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper, the only place that would give us a license for a low-rent internet radio station. This is Live from the Path.
Here's what I'm thinking. Like, I really feel like that song could be done by a group of choral fellas. It would add more majesty.
What do you mean, like a cappella?
Like a military, fellas, like a big group of band of dudes.
Give me an example.
Like a boy band without the band.
We are a working men. We get things done. You know what I'm
We
saying?
get the chordsman in here.
Kind of astute.
Nice.
This sounds like a bunch of drunk Bavarians.
Okay, I didn't ask for your opinion on it. I'm just saying that's what I think should happen.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Past. Should be a great show. If you've chosen to wander or saunter into the program for the very first time, this is the day for you. Ryan Paul Buck is in studio. He's going to be sharing some stories and some tunes. I'm excited. We met him at the
Newsboys.
The Newsboys show. That's right.
Yeah, that's where I know you, but I don't know why.
Yeah, he was lurking around at a legitimate radio station. And somehow we've got him to lower the bar and show up here. So he's in here.
That's awesome.
I'm excited for Ryan.
This is the end of your career, by the way. Hope you enjoyed it. McDonald's is hiring.
So we're gonna talk to Ryan and see what's going on in his world. Also, we're gonna do some secular versus Solomon. It's been a while, so I hope you've been touching up on your worldly proverbs to see whether you know biblical wisdom or whether those drunk Bavarians who do that opening theme song are giving you proverbial wisdom to your detriment. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to hit your advice. People are writing in. They say, Dear Life from the Path, I need help, and we're here to help you with that.
There's some people that need Jesus today. Holy cats.
Okay, all right. So we're going to...
I just saw some stuff that just broke my heart. So we're
They've
gonna
come to the right place.
We're going to have to read these.
All right. Pants, are you straightened out there? Refresh your browser if you're having trouble. I think things are going to be just fine for you.
Thought it was a rerun of last week? It was so good.
Maybe. What does that say, fellas? Maybe he can't tell the difference.
What did we do? What did we do last week?
I don't remember.
Did we make... Actually, we do comment on the opening theme song every time. I make it sound like there's some kind of atmosphere in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah.
Yeah. We trumped up the guest and for even deciding to come in the building. Yeah, this is dead on.
This is pretty much our routine.
Oh, there we are right there. It's par for the course. All right, well, I tell you what. Let's get to know Ryan just a little bit. Then we're dig right into the tunes. Ryan Paul Buck, thanks for joining us on Live from the Path.
Yeah, definitely glad to be here, guys. Glad to meet you.
So I tell you what. Let's do this. Let's introduce you by way of some of your music, and then we'll get to know you just a little bit more.
Cool, sounds good.
Tell me a little bit about the first song, You Are the Lord.
Yeah, You Are the Lord is a song that basically wrote about a couple of years ago and was inspired from a trip to Alaska that my grandmother took me and a couple of my family members on.
Hold on. Was it because you were being unruly?
No,
It
nothing like that.
It was just a planned trip.
Planned
Okay.
trip,
I'm sorry. Continue.
Check it out for
I just wanted to know your state of mind.
Yeah, so, it's You Are the Lord. So I'll go ahead and play it for you guys.
Okay, awesome. This is Ryan Paul Buck, and you're listening to Live from the Path.
Creation groans for you alone. Every nation and tongue will confess you, Lord. All over the globe, your children sing of your love. Oh, so we sing of your love. We sing of your love. Creation groans for you alone. Every nation and tongue will confess you, Lord. All over the globe, your children sing of your love. Oh, so we sing, God of creation. God of creation, we call on your name. We are in need of your spirit. Breathe life in this place. Oh God of this city, we call on your name. We are in need of your spirit. light to this place. You are the Lord, the great I am. We long to worship, we vow to worship. You reign on high over all the earth. We long to worship you. We long to worship you. Creation groans for you alone. Every nation and tongue will confess you, Lord. All over the globe, your children sing of your love. Oh, so we sing, God of creation. Oh, God of creation, we call on your name. We are in need of your spirit. Breathe life in this place. Oh, God of this city, we call on your name. We are in need of your spirit. Bring light to this place. You are the Lord, the great I am. We long to worship, we vow to worship. You reign on high over all the earth. We long to worship you. We long to worship you. Your eyes search the earth for hearts of devotion. You're alive in the blameless ones. We worship you alone. We worship you alone. We worship you alone. Beloved Jesus, we give you our love. Yes, we give you our love, Jesus. We worship you alone. We worship you alone. We worship you alone, beloved Jesus. You are the Lord, the great I am. We long to worship, we vow to worship. You reign on high over all the earth. Long to worship you. You are the God of creation. You are the God of creation. The breath of life. You are the God of creation. You are the God of creation, the sustainer.
That last part was cool. I didn't see it coming. I thought he had something had happened to him. but then it was on purpose, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's way cooler. Yeah, that was very cool, very cool. So how have you had that song for a while, or?
Yeah, it was. I started it just like I said, I got inspired after that trip, and I had like another chorus to it, the God of Mercy song. Actually, like I was trying to find another song to write with that chorus because I really like that chorus. It's the first track off the record, and the two pieces just didn't fit together. They're completely different tempos. And then, I changed that beginning part. The beginning part used to be a lot simpler. Like it was like the whole that rhythm thing is really interesting. And it's like, it's a really interesting time signature that it's in. But at first it used to be a lot simpler and a lot more boring when I was trying to write that other chorus, and I just dropped the chorus, came up with this new chorus, and it just worked a lot.
I feel like not enough songwriters embrace using the same chorus in two places. Like they feel like they really got to distinct each song, when really, I mean, if it's a good chorus, you might as well copy it and pass it out. Use it a couple times. I mean, what if Journey did Don't Stop Believing? Yeah, a couple, 3 times.
They could have had 2 or 3 hits on their hands. That's the deal. Well, that was You Are the Lord. That was by Ryan Paul Buck. You can find more information about Ryan if you go to ryanpaulbuck.com. His album The Foundation is out now. You can listen to it a little bit online. You can also pick it up on iTunes and Amazon. I prefer the Amazon.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
No,
MP3s
you're not.
over AAC. Is that-
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
I do like
he's upset over the protected music code, or you gotta. He don't
they
like
dropped
it.
it recently.
Did they really?
Yeah, it's not as protected anymore.
All right.
For real. Yeah.
I don't like to be constrained. I'm a music libertarian.
Yeah, you're a music thief.
No, I'm talking about purchasing it on the Amazon.
No, what you're the kind of guy that's like, they put in laws to protect people, and you're like, I think these laws are stupid. I should be able to just do whatever I want.
All right, man. All right. That's Ryan. So you can go to his, if you go to his website, ryanpaulbuck.com, there's a link there to check out the music and to pick up the CD on iTunes or Amazon. There's also a lot of cool information. His blog is out there. Now, do you blog very often?
No, I'm not.
You're a lazy blogger.
I am a lazy blogger.
I find that 95% of bloggers are lazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm terrible.
I noticed that too. Everybody, like, you go look at their blog, and it's like 2009. You're like, oh.
You know, and frankly, there's nothing that irritates me more than
So you guys, I think it was.
Is that bad? Is that bad? I keep paying for it. I'm like, I haven't done anything in it for like 4 years
Here's
at
the
least.
thing, like, people are legitimately interested in you, so they go check out your blog, and you don't care enough to even write in it.
Yeah.
Like I look at it and like, oh, 2010, did they die? You know, like, are they even around anymore, or they don't think anything?
Oh, sorry. Ryan's only entry is, hello, world. Welcome to WordPress.
Nice.
It's the test post that
It is
WordPress
the
puts
test
out. I like that.
I'm just, I really think I think people should just abandon blogs. Like, is there any, I read, there's one blog that I read. Like, other than that.
Is it mine?
No, it's not.
Oh.
I went to check on you, and I couldn't decide what happened to you, so I gave up.
It takes discipline, though.
It
Being
does.
a blogger takes discipline.
And you have to be worth listening to.
that too. Yeah.
I'm not worth listening to every day.
No.
Absolutely not.
Well, I think your typical blogger, if like I know I haven't studied this, but you know they'll just writing random things that nobody cares about. Is the ones that are successful tend to be ones that kind of focus and are writing about things that people want to hear about. It's like, well, who really cares what I have to say? Really? I mean,
But that didn't stop
I saw
the
a cat today.
That didn't stop the bravado of you coming up with, I'm going to be a blog writer.
Actually-
You opened a post.
Actually, the whole concept of Twitter is based upon a certain form of narcissism, is it not? Like,
true.
whatever menial thing I'm doing at the time is worth sharing with everybody.
Exactly.
I believe I just got a post from you on the Facebook that says, I'm going to get some pizza. With a picture of you and other people eating pizza.
Nice.
It was just time for a pizza break.
I tell you what, there's some narcissistic people out there.
The picture was not of me.
Hold on. Dan Hudson's going out.
Everybody should know I'm having a little Felix and
This has to be the most embarrassing move right here. Like, that they've had to put a camera that flips around so you can look at it and go, there's me. Here's me standing by my car. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, what have happened to us? Who's on the Lord's side?
So, Ryan, maybe share with us just a little bit about how you got into music to begin with.
Sure, definitely.
Hold on. Was it because of unruly behavior?
No, not that I know.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, but basically I got started doing music back in, it had been like 2001, and my older brother and I were kind of getting interested in hip-hop and stuff at the time, and he was writing raps over top of industry instrumentals and things like that, and we went up to Minnesota to visit my uncle, and one day went to the Guitar Center and picked up a drum machine, and he couldn't figure out how to use it, so he passed it to me, and I'm kind of a technology whiz, so I started programming drum beats and things like that, and then he started writing to him, and before you knew it, we had like 20 tracks, and we were ready to record an album. And so, yeah, my brother and I were kind of at this point where we were looking at studio fees and things like that, and the cost of recording had come down, as you guys know, with your broadcast over computer-based and stuff. You know, computer-based recording really took off around that time in the 2000s. So my brother and I decided to invest in, studio equipment, and that's when I started learning how to be a recording engineer. So we basically cut our first record, our first disc. True to Life is the name, if you can find it around on the internet.
I'm going to find it.
You know, Ryan has a uncanny ability to say that you're low rent without saying you're low rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you guys just scratched up $300 worth of material and put yourself on the internet. but he said it
know what you've done.
so smoothly and kindly that it just completely passed by, which is very cool.
As you can see with your entry-level radio program,
Most people say, "Oh, you have headphones. You guys are the real deal."
I see you have
and a window.
the Logitech 110 webcam. That's a choice. Yeah, that's certainly something you could do.
I like him.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He's a slick one.
Communication expert. Yeah. But yeah, so basically, yeah, hip hop was my first start, and so got started doing that, and eventually I kind of wanted to start learning more about chord structure and music behind it, because with hip hop, it's a great way to start. If you're looking to get started with music, hip hop's the way to go, because it's rhythmic based.
Yep.
So if you got rhythm, you can do it. But eventually I started learning how to play chords and stuff on a piano, and then my brother got a guitar, so started learning that when just messing around with his. And kind of the crazy story about me is like pretty much 6 months after I really started intentionally learning to play guitar, I was actually on stage leading worship at my church.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is a pretty wild story, yeah. So
so they didn't have anybody, or you just got to be that good?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
But they're just kind of short of people, and I started playing bass. The first day I got my bass in the mail, I was actually on stage on a Wednesday night. I got a used one on the mail, and I was playing it. I tore up my fingers so bad. I mean, they felt like skeleton bones, So don't play the bass for a gig the first night you ever get one. Not a good idea.
Hey, Ryan and Steve, you got that bass in? Oh, yeah. Okay, I need you to come here. Really?
Yeah. So yeah, it worked out great. So I was playing bass, and yeah, I mean, the people around my church, I think, were just really enthused by my skills and abilities. I picked up really fast, and I remember the guy who actually asked me to be a worship leader. I remember playing on stage with him at our young adult service, and he was like, Ryan's been playing for 4 months, and he's one of our best bass players, And
I'm telling you, Jesus does stuff like that,
Yeah,
if Jesus
does.
wants you to know the bass, you learn the bass.
Yeah, I mean, for real, in guitar, I mean, I remember one of my pastors talking about that we were some military research project, both me and my brother, because we just learned so fast, and it was just our passion. And I think too, just being a collaborative team, between my brother's the one who plays the lead licks on this record, so you can check it out. But we led worship together for a good 5 years, around my church and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my journey from hip hop to worship to now kind of this songwriting and recording.
You very rarely see it go the other way. I used to be a country artist, and I've now become a hip hop man. You just don't see the progression go towards hip hop. Instead of away. And I don't know. If Willie Nelson picked it up, I'd buy the CD just to check it out.
Didn't Garth Brooks do hip hop under a different name?
No, he did bad music under a different name.
What was his name?
Nice.
Yeah,
Chris Gaines. Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Dan, you don't know Pop?
He got it. He got a goatee and everything.
Yeah.
Really?
It was fairly terrible.
Yeah.
It was fairly terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. I don't know bad music.
Solid. So tell me a little bit about. So that's kind of a wide swath of things that you've got yourself involved in. So referring to you as a singer songwriter doesn't seem to encapsulate it correctly.
Right.
So as a digital media guy,
exactly,
because you're involved in recording engineering, you're doing music, you got video content and stuff. Tell me a bit about how that all comes together. About basically what's it for? What's it all about? What are you getting at with all that stuff?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a person of a variety of skills and stuff, and I recorded this record myself just as a personal project, wanting to learn and improve my skills. And video content, I've wrestled with that a lot over the years. Just I'm doing this recording thing. I love writing songs. I just have this passion. I want to write songs, but yet I love cameras and I love shooting videos. And I've wrestled back and forth between the two. I just want clarity. I want to do one thing. And the one word that has really stuck out for me in my mind is storyteller. And I kind of started putting that, on my Twitter, bio, and then on the bottom of my email, storyteller. I love telling stories. So that's the thing for me, is I love telling stories, and the best story ever told is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so through this record, that's what I really wanted to tell, was help people tell the stories. And one of the songs I'm going to sing tonight is a narrative-based song. It's called "The Life You Gave." And it really is. It's a narrative-styled song about the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Just storytelling. I'm really intrigued by stories, and the gospel is a story in itself, to be told and to be communicated through people. I think that's my passion through everything I do, from recording, whether I'm just a recording engineer, a singer-songwriter, all the way to video production. It's about communicating the story of God and who He is, and His desires for us, and His heart and compassion and love for us.
Very cool. That's the best explanation of anything I've ever heard in my whole life.
Nice.
I'm going to leave now.
Dang it, the Lord does not need me anymore.
He's found. You know what? I'm done with Mike Foose.
That
was the age of Ryan Paul Buck.
Now that RPB's here, Mike can get out of here.
Good thing we have a dumpster.
What kind of initials are MAF anyway? All right, well, cool. We've been talking with Ryan Paul Buck. You can find more information about him by going to ryanpaulbuck.com. paulbuck.com. I tell you what, I want to hear some more about some of the current stories that you're working on in
Sure.
that vibe. But I tell you what, let's hear that song. Let's hear that the life you gave that you were just talking about.
Cool. Yeah, I'll set it up real quick. Like when I wrote this song, I was leading worship. We were in the bridge at our church, just kind of in this transitional space between locations as church is growing, building new places. And I remember leading worship, or not leading worship, I was playing electric guitar that night. We were playing for, I think, like at least 45, 50 minutes. And I remember just after that, like not being done yet. Like I still had just this heart and this desire to worship more. And so yeah, I just started kind of strumming around with some chords, and I ended up going to our chapel, which is kind of a smaller space. And the first couple lines out of this song, what words could I ever bring that could even compare to the life you get, the price you paid, the life you gave, for me in the world. Those first lyrics came out and just stuck with me. And then I spent time with my older brother, who I did hip hop with, just kind of writing and fleshing out that story. So yeah, this is the life you gave.
Very cool. You're listening to Ryan Paul Buck on Live from the Path.
What words could I ever bring that could even compare to the price you paid and the life you gave for me and the world? With arms raised, your eyes gazed to the ones who need you here. All their broken lives staring up with helpless eyes to you. Redemption is near, because all we have is found in you. And the life you gave, yes, all we have is found in you. And the life you gave, all you gave. Whoa. Your mothers, sisters, and brothers are crying at your feet. They can't help but weep from losing you. As the sky rained down on that day, you held the world in all its pain till you slipped past the point of heavy breathing. The earth did shake as everything began to break, and all we hold on to was forgotten. As time stood still on that day, as you slowly slipped away from the arms of your father. And all we have is found in you, and the life you gave, yes, all we have is found in you, and the life you gave. We will never know the pain. We will never share your fate. We will never know the pain. We will never share your fate. But of our Savior. And we won't die because of his sacrifice. And we will rise because of our Savior. And we won't die because of his sacrifice. Because all we have is found in you, and the life you gave. Yes, all we have is found in you, and the life you gave. Yes, all we have is found in you, and the life you gave. Yes, all we have is found in you, and the life you gave. Life you gave. Life you gave. Oh, life you gave.
That was Ryan Paul Buck with The Life You Gave. You were listening to Live from the Path. We've been talking to Ryan. To learn more about him, go to ryanpaulbuck.com. You can check out his new CD. You can pick it up on Amazon. You can pick it up on iTunes. Hey, Big Brown. Nathaniel's joining us.
Yep.
Very cool. I like that. I mean, the background is helpful with that song too, because I mean, I think you can see it. I think you can see the moment of kind of hanging out in that more intimate space, like that chapel area, and just kind of letting the thing ride out to God, talking about that story.
Right.
So I don't know. I dig on it. I like that tune.
Thanks, man.
What's but before we hit that song, we were talking a little bit about storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, you got anything that's in the works right now that you're really excited about, like in any of those fronts, those media fronts?
Sure, yeah. Like storytelling and stuff like that. I help a lot of other people tell their stories through video, kind of like people's personal testimonies and things like that.
Uh-huh.
That's something I do for my job at Lutheran Church of Hope. So yeah, I mean, basically helping tell people stories, and then also, yeah, I mean, anytime you pretty much pull a video together, you're working on telling a story, and it's just a matter of what. So right now I'm working on a video too for the ELCA National Conference in New Orleans coming up here in July. So just kind of working on refining, like, okay, what's the story I'm telling? And I'm right now working on the script, and I've shot a few things, but I'm really refining it down to what is the story, what's the content that's going in there. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had a really good. It's not a good experience, right? It's not a great experience, but like my dog died this week. And it was really weird because I watched her, and she was an older dog. She's about 10, and she started having a stroke. And like she started, like if you sit there, and I didn't know what was happening. My wife used to work for a vet, and so she knows these kind of things, So she's looking at it, she's like, the dog's having a stroke. I'm like, what? What do I do? She said, nothing. You just kind of sit there and watch it. It's just nothing.
Take video.
There's just nothing to do, And so and she's seen this a million times in her job. She just sees this, and so she just kind of gets. She's not like dead to it, but like she goes into, this is my job mode. Here's what we do, And so, like, I'm sitting there watching this happen. She's got the dog's just convulsing and leaning up against the wall, and her eyes are going back and forth and stuff like this. And I'm just sitting there watching it. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I just don't know what to do. And she goes, well, go, just go sit with her and pet her. I'm like, she's probably freaked out. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do, And like, I just felt helpless. Like, I just sitting there, And eventually it turned out that we got her to the vet, and they said, well, we'll put her on some fluids and we'll see. We'll check on her in the morning. And she didn't make it. She died in the nighttime. But like for some reason the next morning I was thinking about it. I was a little bummed, but I was thinking about it and I'm like, this is exactly how God feels when he looks at me. This is exactly how Christ feels when he looks at me. You know what I'm saying? Like he's sitting up there and he's just watching me convulse and hit my head against the wall and act like a doofus, and he wants to sit next to me and hold me, and but there's nothing he can do, right? He's offered me salvation. He's offered me the gift that he's given. He's done everything he could to set me up, and I'm just sitting, I don't know, like I just, for some reason I just saw it through his eyes, like how helpless he is. Like he's an awesome and amazing God, and he's done everything he could for me, but like his heart I just can't imagine his heart is just not grieving watching his kids bang their heads against the wall and convulse and just be sick and not well, and like it was just so weird to see that every once in a while, because I generally have my stance on God is authoritative. I am God, I create, I love you with still authoritative, power, love, and I have a view of God like that most of the time, but every once in a while, like we had a guy, we talked about it on the show 3-4 months ago, that a kid had committed suicide, and like everyone was talking about how sad they were, how about the families and all this stuff, and like the saddest part to me was that God was there, and he had to watch one of his kids give up, and call it a day, and like I just can't. I don't even know the kid, and God knew everything about him, loved him, died for him. Like just how much that grieves God's heart when stuff like that happens, and I just felt like it was so simple. Like it's just a metaphor of my dog dying. It was just a dog, but like I don't know. Like I felt just an inkling of what God feels like when He's like, I can't portray my love anymore. I can't portray my love anymore to you to let you know that it's here and I want it and I want this for you. And he's just holding your head, wondering why you're still banging your head against the wall, Like, it was just a really weird moment.
I agree.
That was kind of a downer story. I didn't mean to, like, bust it out, but
Thanks, Mike. That's awesome.
I'm going to depress everybody. But
teaching the Father heart of God, which is that's a theme that's huge for me, especially in a lot of my writing. If you guys get a chance to check out my full album, I've got a song, Sons and Daughters, that's on there that kind of talks about that Father heart perspective of God. So just, from the beginning of creation all the way to the end, the way the Father always wants to be with us and looking out for us. And
we're trying to talk about Jesus here. Are you opening a tea?
Actually, Dan's going to open a can.
Even Jesus drink. I don't know if he drank this. What is this?
Yeah, so Nathaniel's brought in some sweet tea action. I got a Jack Nicklaus Golden Bear lemonade with honey and ginseng. Ginseng. What makes me? I sound like pan-European when I say ginseng.
It's got to be ginseng.
ginseng.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't that make you
Right?
sleep?
You want a tea?
Or that's the brain stuff?
I don't
There's
know.
a honey and there's a
half lemonade.
Is it? I got.
It's pretty
I'm
good.
My water. Thank you. Though.
That sounds like a no. I don't want your tea.
That's a nice, colorful can there, but it'll go with my water.
Crazy story about me. Like I have to be careful with what I eat. I'm allergic to corn, dairy, and wheat.
Oh man,
There's a lot of stuff. So I usually don't take handouts.
I think that's.
Just things like that. But.
I don't say yes.
You're like you're the most unfortunate trick or treater ever.
Exactly. I didn't find out until I was like 19. So kind of a crazy story. I mean, it's around the same time I got into music. So I don't know if there's a correlation to that. All the stuff that was keeping me tired.
That's the thorn.
The thorn.
That's Paul's thorn. That's
my allergies.
wheat.
Can't do dairy.
Turned out Paul had a gluten reaction. He just didn't want to mention it in the book, in the Bible.
All right. Well, you're listening live from the Path. We were talking with Ryan Paul Buck, and I know what's happened to you. You've come in and you said, "I want to hear some sweet tunes," and you've got that. And I feel like we've delivered so far. Ryan's came in and he's held up his end of the bargain, and so that we hold up on ours. I'm afraid we're gonna have to play America's fastest growing internet game show, Secular versus Solomon.
Yes, sir.
And now, for America's fastest growing game show, Secular or Solomon?
Okay.
Attest to that.
So if this is your first time playing Secular versus Solomon, let me tell you how it's going to go down. I will give you a proverb, okay? And then your job on the chat and here in studio is to identify whether that proverb is secular, it is a worldly bit of wisdom, or whether it is from Solomon, it is a biblical bit of wisdom, all right? If it is a secular bit of wisdom or a worldly bit of wisdom, you're also to tell me the country of origin, okay? Most points gets to clean out my vehicle. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. Nathaniel, you can't play.
Okay.
Because you can see my stuff.
Oh.
There we go. All right, here we go.
Man.
Ready? Secular versus Solomon. Number one. By the way, chat. So you can go ahead and throw your answers out on the chat so that I can tell whether you're playing. Here we go. God gives every bird its food, but does not always drop it into the nest. God gives every bird its food, but does not always drop it into the nest. Secular or Solomon?
Guess goes first. Ryan Paul Buck.
Okay, Ryan, you're up.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with secular.
Secular. Country of origin for the guess.
We'll go with America.
It's an American bit of wisdom.
I've never even heard of American proverb. We don't have any wisdom. I'm gonna go with secular as well. Probably Botswana.
A Botswanian bit of wisdom. Dan.
They deal a lot in birds down there.
Yeah. I've been thinking it's obviously a Swedish proverb, secular.
Okay, secular Swedish.
You said Nathaniel couldn't play.
Oh, that's right. You're out. Okay, here we go. God gives every bird its food, but does not always drop it into the nest. Secular Danish. I'm going to give Dan half a point on that Swede guess. It was a Swede guess. Hey-oh. Hey-oh.
Nice.
Hold on. Is Swede next to Dane?
That's the general vicinity.
Okay. I don't know geography.
Here we go. Death and life are in the powers of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Secular or Solomon? Dan Hudson.
That's pretty close, but I'm going to say secular from India.
Indian. Dots, not feathers. Mike.
I'm going Solomon.
Solomon.
I'm going Solomon.
Solomon. Nathaniel, you're out. Chat's got Solomon. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Solomon, Proverbs 18:21.
Pastor Dan. Secular Indian.
I knew it was awfully close to some
I
scripture.
feel like our seminary has gotten loose.
Proverbs is a big book.
my recent change to the ESV has really clogged my mind on some of the
Okay,
tricky
Dan, you've
wording.
been saying that for a year.
Well, I know it's still clogging.
It's just it's all new to me.
Bible of reference, ESV.
See, if it was the NIV, I would have said,
Then I would have.
obviously.
Definitely. I definitely have this. Okay, here we go. It is better to be of a lowly spirit with the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. It is better to be of a lowly spirit with the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. Secular or Solomon? Mike.
Solomon says things like spoil. So I'm going with King Solomon.
He's using a trickery of the wording. Ryan Paul Buck.
I'll go Solomon. It sounds close, but yeah.
Shifty Solomon. Dan Hudson.
I'm as well going Solomon as well because it sounds awfully close to how I have it in my head.
In my NIV. In my
In my
NIV brain.
head that has been translated to
Here's what
ESV.
I'm interested in is what you think the verse is. Like
Well, I don't necessarily think, no, it should have the word doorknob or something.
Oh.
I just think, boy, that's awfully close, but it doesn't quite, the dendrites aren't quite firing in the same place, or something, it's...
I floss before I come in. I don't have any
Yeah, see,
dendrites.
that's my problem. I don't have to do my mental flossing.
The chat has thrown out secular because it's close to a Canadian redistribution propaganda.
Nice. Well played.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. It is better to be of a lowly spirit with the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. Solomon, a strong Canadian. Proverbs 16:19.
I totally called it. Nathaniel didn't know. I knew that of him.
Way to go, Nathaniel. Here we go. In case you just joined us, you're playing Secular versus Solomon, the unproven America's fastest growing internet game show. Simply because I've not exposed myself to any other internet game shows. Yes, what's up?
Dan's cheating. He's using the Logos Bible software.
Dan Hudson.
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna compare it. No, I'm gonna compare it to the NIV and
All right, keep an eye on him.
Okay.
I will allow it.
All right.
Here we go. Go off into the house of a friend, for weeds soon choke up the unused path. Go often to the house of a friend, for weeds soon choke up the unused path. Secular or Solomon? Ryan Paul Buck.
Secular.
He's saying secular from?
Hungarian.
It's a Hungarian bit of wisdom. Mike?
That sounds like the opposite of a Solomon. I'm gonna throw Solomon out there. I think it's close.
Okay, Solomon. Dan Hudson. Dan, you knew you were coming up.
Okay, hold on. Dan typed in path unused.
I did not.
I lied. That's not Solomon.
I'm going with a Russian proverb, not from Solomon.
Okay, all right. I give proverb for my family. There we go. Chat stuff on the chat. We got a secular China, and that is the only yes. Secular Hungary. People are. Who said Hungary?
That's double.
They're on the bandwagon. They're loving up on Buck's answer. All right, here we go. Jamaica for the weed reference. Here we go. Go off and Daniel Brown's only listening to half of the show. Go off into the house of a friend, for weeds soon choke up the unused path. Secular Swedish. Dan. The Swedes have come back to love on Dan, and he's denied them.
It's
He
the
does
Peace
not-
Lovers. You should have seen it.
Weeds have choked up the path between Dan and the Swedes. Here we go. Better a dove on the plate than a wood grouse in the mating place.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry,
Either way, I agree.
excuse me. Better a dove on the plate than a wood grouse in the mating place. Secular or Solomon? Dan Hudson.
I'm going to go secular, and that sounds Egyptian or something.
Egypt's. They have problems with wood grouses
Oh, it was all over.
in the Coptic lands. Mike.
Actually, I'm gonna stick in the Sweden part of the world, and say Swedish.
Swedes. The Swedes switched to plastic 20 years ago, but wood grouses are given the problem. Ryan Paul Buck.
Let's go secular and German. German.
German.
Yeah. Have
All
you heard
right.
the German one?
And on the chat, we got, I think what is a fake Proverbs guess. Secular Avon, Iowa. And secular Danish. Here we go.
Nice.
Better a dove on the plate than a wood grouse in the mating place. Secular Russia.
Russia.
That was. It's right next to Sweden.
Woodgrass.
Brother,
Right next.
Brother Hudson always one step behind in the country.
That is not ESV. Yes, I know.
I drank my way through the NIV.
Jeremiah, very depressing.
I tattooed full book Lamentations on my back. Here we go.
Please shave first.
Why should a fool have money in his hand to buy wisdom when he has no sense? Why should a fool have money in his hand to buy wisdom when he does not have a lick of sense?
That's a play on words. That's not Solomon.
I threw in the phrase lick. It just says when he has no sense. Secular or Solomon? Ryan Paul Buck.
Let's go secular. Back to Sweden.
Secular. Going back to the Swedes. Mike Foost.
Secular and Finland.
The Finns.
Dance with it.
Everyone loves the outskirts of Northern Europe. Dan Hudson.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Greece, and it's a secular, obviously.
All right. A money dig at the Greeks who are having trouble.
They're having issues.
Pretty low rent, Dan.
I figured, damn, I got it figured out.
Here we go. Chat has secular Swaziland. Switzerland. Very good. Pants on the Path says secular United Kingdom.
People are unappreciative of Dan's harshness towards the Greek government.
When they're down, you kick them.
Austerity measures can't be won.
That's true. That is the worldly wisdom. When they're down, give them a boot.
Okay, now hold on a minute. Can you explain? Can you explain austerity? What does that mean? When they say austerity measures are being taken?
Government intervention, basically, to try to restart the economy in Greece.
Oh, like kind of like we've done.
Similar.
Okay, I'm with you.
They're way worse shape. For now.
They say it a lot on the radio. They're like, austerity measures have failed. I'm like, oh no.
Again?
Who's in charge of that?
Get rid of this austerity guy.
Secular Chinese. Here we go. Why should a fool have money in his hand to buy wisdom when he has not a lick of sense? And that's Proverbs 17:16. Proverbs 17:16. Solomon wiped the table with everybody on that
Nice.
one.
He did.
You're listening to Live from the Path. So far, we have one more question, and Mike.
I got trouble.
How's that go? Read that again on it.
Okay, Proverbs 17:16. Why should a fool have money in his hand to buy wisdom when he has no sense?
See, this is what confuses me because I would recognize it as of what use is money in the hand of a fool since he has no desire to get wisdom. That's the NIV.
I'd say the same thing.
I mean, it's saying the same thing, but it's like
Yeah.
worded slightly different. And I'm like,
Pants, that does not count. Pants is contending that was written by Solomon while he was in the UK.
on vacation, on holiday.
I feel like that's not right. All right, here we go. I hope you're doing well on Secular versus Solomon. Here was the last one for the night, everybody.
You're gonna have to let Nathaniel take over guesses.
Okay, Nathaniel, you got guesses. Here we go. A friend to all and a friend to none is one and the same. A friend to all and a friend to none is one and the same. Secular or Solomon? Dan Hudson.
I was attacking an insect when you said that.
I understand.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to go. Say that again.
A friend to all and a friend to none is one and the same. Secular or Solomon?
I'm going secular. Because I can't even twist that around differently in words to make it. He has some. Yeah, okay, I'm going secular, and I'm going to go with the Aztecs. They have a lot of wisdom.
A new country, Aztecia. The
Yes.
Aztecs. A nation peoples. Go ahead. Ryan Paul Buck.
Let's go secular on this one, and let's put it in Russia again.
We are hanging out on the European continent. No wisdom comes from Africa. Nathaniel Carson. A friend to all and a friend to none is one and the same.
Secular China.
Secular China. We're starting to broach the world. We got secular, probably Jamaica again. Secular German. And okay, chat, that was your option. Here we go. A friend to all. Secular Brazil. That's the way to spread it out, Pants. Wait, Pants, did you do two guesses?
Remember the
You can't
Aztecs
guess
down in
twice.
Brazil?
You already said German. I'm going with first answer, German. All right. A friend to all and a friend to none is one and the same.
They heard it from the
Secular
Aztecs.
Italian. It is an Italian bit of wisdom.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. You know what? That sounds right. That sounds Italian. Yeah, definitely. All right.
I saw that on a pizza.
Chat, go ahead and tally them up. See where you came out. And you've just been a part of America's fastest growing internet game show, Secular or Solomon.
For America's
You've just finished-
fastest-growing game show,
Here you go.
Secular or Solomon?
All right. How'd you do, chat? Hold on. I can't look at you until this video's over. I can only do so much.
I'm only a man.
Nobody's posting their scores. You guys get whooped on? All right. Here's what you do. You hit the Proverbs. It's a good. Now here's the deal. I'm going to submit to you that the Proverbs, when you're in your Bible reading, you don't know where else to go. I suggest hitting the Proverbs. They're easy to digest. They're short and sweet. You generally can find something applicable for you that day. Hanging out in the Proverbs.
Yeah.
Grab it when you're on the.
It's always got good stuff in there. Pretty practical stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Proverbs a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And overall, the point of the game show, besides showing that we don't know geography well, is that it's to make sure that we're not mistaking worldly wisdom for biblical wisdom, because we do that a lot. Things that sound, they got the right type of language. They come from something that sounds like the King James, and we think, oh, that must have come from Jesus. That seems like
God helps those who help himself. That's in the Bible.
Yeah. That's it. That's the deal, right? So it's just a fun way for us to make a distinction about what the world's wisdom looks like compared to what God's wisdom looks like, and also to be careful when going to Brazil, because I mean, there's wood grouses in. Where did I say the wood grouse was from? Oh, I forgot.
I don't remember.
I don't want any trouble. I better check it out. Wood grouse, Russia. Stay away from the wood grouse. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you.
I don't
Is it
either.
some kind of like squirrel type creature?
I don't know.
What are your thoughts, Ryan Paul Buck?
Google
You're a man of the
wood
world.
grouse. That's got to be a bird. You think?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wood
Like
grouse.
a partridge.
I'm
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see what I can find out. All right. Yeah, Mike, you're in. You're in
Okay,
radio.
finally. We're back up and running.
All right,
What did I miss?
you were listening to Live from the Path.
Secular.
By the way,
Secular.
you can catch us. You can catch us during the week at livefromthepath.org. There's links on that main page of which you are probably watching. On the left-hand side, you can get to our podcast. That's the audio cast. Also, on our if you go to youtube.com/Live from the Path, there are clips from previous shows, including artists that have been here. Ryan Sheeler's been here. Jeff Arendale's been in. Jessa Anderson, Syndrome of Fire. Lots of folks. The guys from Saved on Sunday, and just tons of folks been on. So make sure you go out and check out the clips. Wayne Stewart, I saw some stuff from Wayne this week. Chris Day, I would just get tons of folks out there.
There's a million.
Check out the music. Those guys put a lot of work. They come in late at night and they share their Jesus stuff for you.
It's cool.
So go out and enjoy it.
Did I already tell my dog stroke story?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. That was a real winner.
It was a downer.
I love that story.
really sealed the night. We are in studio with the I would call marginally successful at Secular versus Solomon, Ryan Paul Buck.
Yeah.
Ryan. So we'll have you back in and we'll give you another crack at it.
That was my first time.
I thought you did pretty good.
Thanks, man.
I
It was
pretty
impressive.
solid.
Yeah.
He said
Discerning the wisdom.
He says that to everybody. Okay,
Does he? All right.
No, that's not true. We've had some real losers in here. I mean, they can love Jesus and still stink at the Secular versus
They
Solomon.
don't read their Proverbs.
All right. So I tell you what, let's catch back up with Ryan. By the way, you can find more information about Ryan going to ryanpaulbuck.com. You can check out his album. You can order it from there on. Can they get a physical copy? I didn't even check. You do physical copies?
Yeah, we have them at the Hope Bookstore, Lutheran Church of Hope. If you go in there,
Okay,
Cafe
cool.
Hope, we got them there. If you see me around town,
You've got them in your coat pocket.
trunk tapes. Yeah.
When I buy a CD.
Or a watch.
Creepy. Hey,
Star
Nathaniel, I want you to keep an eye on Ryan Paul Buck this week. See-
I'll give it a try.
Check his behavior.
Nice.
So yeah, you can go to his website. You can find more information about his album, The Foundation. I like it. I've listened to it, and it's very good. It's very. You can cruise down the road with it.
Yeah.
You can connect with it, and you can dig on it as you go about your day-to-day business.
You know what we need to do? It just occurred to me as you were talking about, the hope. Yeah, we need to have a Live on the Path books music store.
That would be awesome.
Why couldn't we stock stuff in here and sell stuff for people?
That's a great idea.
Why don't we? What's wrong with us?
I don't know. We're not very entrepreneurially minded. That's
Well,
why
we don't have to make any money on it. We
low
can
rent
pass it
broadcast equipment
on to the people. I mean,
that's
it'd be it's a place.
Yeah, it's just a place to put music.
It's a place to come for music.
we can
We got all
also
kinds of space on the walls.
we could also be a Little Debbie distributor. Because I feel like
We could do
people like good Jesus music and Little Debbie's. Am I right or am I right?
I think you're right. I think that'd go over well.
All right.
Have a little snack, listen to some good music. We have the little cafe tables in there. They could sit in there and just kind of.
Make it work. I like it.
Oh man.
So get us some CDs. Well, you can be the first.
I've got some in my bag.
There you go.
Yeah, so you got to carry your CDs around if you never know.
I think that's a good idea.
I mean, honestly, we got to put a place that we'll have to keep the door locked so no one comes in and steals them.
Yeah.
Not that anyone would come in here.
People
and
would
steal them.
rifle out, although except for XL. XL was in here and he said he just give them away. He don't care.
Nice.
We'll charge $30.
Yeah.
We can't sell
We
your
wanna make
stuff.
it-
I don't understand why.
All right, so you're listening to Live from the Path. We're in studio with Ryan Paul Buck. Again, you can find more information about him at ryanpaulbuck.com. And if within the next 2 or 3 days, if you go to youtube.com/Live from the Path, we'll have the clips that he's performed early in the day. We heard "You Are the Lord" and "The Life You Gave." Let's talk a little bit about the song "Father." What was where did that one come from?
Sure. Yeah, that tune, that one's got a cool story behind it. I was going on stage, leading worship at one of our young adult services, and I had on the schedule to do a John Foreman song, like "Your Love Is Strong," and I just went up and I just really felt like the Spirit was leading me somewhere else, and so I just kind of went up there and started strumming a new pattern, and yeah, the pattern, the rhythm pattern of Father just started coming out, and then the lyrics just started coming out too. So that one was began very spontaneously on stage.
Does that throw off the band and the dude running the video projector going, we don't have those words.
Exactly.
We can't download them from CCLI right now either. I don't know what to do.
There's nothing. Yeah. Well, the Holy Spirit's downloading it to them too. It could happen. But yeah, no. I mean, luckily, kind of just at that service, after the message, it's usually pretty open, and people were taking communion at the time, so it was just a good spot for it, and I could really see people being impacted by the lyrics because it was just something about what was being preached. There was just kind of a deposit from the Spirit on stage, and just stepping in there, I just walked into it and just let God do what He wanted to do. So yeah, the song's just really, really peaceful, connecting. I think it's just it's almost the cry of a son to his father, and it's kind of interesting. You guys bring in, the Proverbs, the song, Solomon, wisdom, because the bridge has a proverb in it. That God exalts the humble and opposes the proud. So I put that in there.
The NIV.
I'm gonna keep.
It's a good question.
Because that sounded pretty familiar.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that off the list because Buck's cheating. He's bringing in twos with the
Hey, I
lyrics
know that
embedded
one.
in there. He's got Proverbs stuffed in his music.
That's right.
Just like writing it on your arm.
That's right.
Well, good. That sounds awesome. Let's take a listen. This is Father. You're listening to Ryan Paul Buck on Live from the Path.
Father, won't you teach me all of your ways? God, I want all of your ways. Oh, Father, won't you show me the glory of your name? I live to glorify your name. Oh, Father, won't you lead me straight to your heart? God, I want all of your heart. And all my hope is in you. And all my love belongs to you. Oh, Father, won't you teach me all of your ways? God, I want all of your ways. Oh, Father, won't you show me the glory of your name? I live to glorify your name. Oh, Father, won't you lead me straight to your heart? God, I want all of your heart. And all my hope is in you. And all my love belongs to you. And all my hope is in you. And all my love belongs to you. I bow down low, you lift me up. I bow down low and you lift me up. I bow down low, you lift me up. I bow down low, you lift me up. I bow down low and you lift me up. I bow down low, you lift me up. Oh, you exalt the humble and oppose the proud. All my works lay bare before you now. Oh, you exalt the humble and oppose the proud. All my works lay bare before to you.
Awesome. That was Ryan Paul Buck. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on and visiting us on Life from the Path. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. It was great hanging with you guys.
All right. I'm glad you could come. You can find more about Ryan by going to ryanpaulbuck.com. Make sure you check it out. Pick up his album. Do you still lead worship?
Currently, no. Took a break from doing that. Yeah.
So, do you have any gigs or anything that people can come see you live? Or?
Yeah, I've got. I'm doing a Friday night fellowship here coming up in August at my church at Hope.
Okay.
It's on a Friday night in August. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I tell you, we might get some more information from that, and just when it gets closer, just let some people know in case they want to come out.
That'd be awesome.
Ryan, thanks for coming. We're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna because Daniel Brown from Saved on Sunday is on. I'm gonna go ahead and play the second anniversary clip video. Mike and Daniel got in a foot race at the Spirit Midwest Music Festival, of which Mike lost pretty handily, I might add.
It was embarrassing.
But I'm gonna play that for you guys, and during that time, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we will join you right back for the second hour of the show. Thank you for listening to Ryan Paul Buck on Live from the Path. Live from the Path.
You're listening to Live from the Path. All right. You were listening to Live from the Path. Well, you're listening to Live from the Path. Welcome to Live from the Path. Well, you're listening to Live from the Path. You're listening to Live from the Path.
You are listening to Live from the Path.
You're listening to Live from the Path.
Oh, but I really just want to be able to do these heroin gang fights.
Joe, call please. Welcome to Give Me Money.
Jim Neighbors would never betray Jesus.
Ed, tell him you saw Billy at the fair.
Yeah, she kind of looked like she was defending Ewok territory.
Where's that snake?
I think this.
Point the toes. Point the toes. There you go. Straight.
The camera
There you go.
appears to be broken.
Funny. I'm regrowing my teeth. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Stick. I'm doing it as the good Lord made me. 60% stiffness, but we got a lot of apology.
Where's that snake? We are Leo. Ba, 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 ba.
That is one crazy lady.
I'm not happy.
I love you.
Fellas, how often do you cut your hair? How often do you get your hair cut? How often do you get your hair cut? How often do people get your hair cut?
Even Jesus people use the potty.
With 100% chance of rain, as is raining right now.
That's Troy Spangelanger.
It's gonna smell like a fish hut in there.
Good shot, Winston.
Trends are up, salaries are down. Oh, not for us, eh?
Yes, very good.
13.
Comes after 12.
You mean what?
I mean-
And actually spit in their coffee.
I travel with a small cat. Is that going to be all right?
Let's do that classic bit about you and Dan's shirt.
The last time that happened in front of a group of this size, I wet myself and spent the rest of the 8th grade in a small room.
Stop that. That's cheesy.
I once flew in high heels. It was a total mistake. At the tent stage, and Chris Roloff comes.
Okay.
I like, there goes that guy. And his butt.
Hello.
Although the guy on the far right is fetching.
Jimmy Johnson.
I would.
Pretty good. Making that
I'm just
noise.
saying, sometimes I wish I was part of the bands that come in here. And that when they left, I could go with them.
And you could go out in the parking lot and say, "Don't say anything here. Let's drive a little to the Quick Trip, and then we'll talk about it."
Come on, shake it.
It's not a harp.
Come on.
What did they find?
Can I get that in an 8x10?
That's a mistake.
I thought it was a bucket moon, Chuckles.
The guy's got a drunk dulcimer up there.
Music by Thor.
I'll check it out.
Is that the fried pickle sandwich?
Check it out. It's about the people. Fried pickle cheeseburger sandwich. I've never had a fried. He tells that joke again. We're gonna have to toss him.
Like a Wisconsin thunderstorm. Dan to Dan.
What's the Hebrew for number 2? Wait a minute. That sounds like my food. Phil Donahue was still alive.
Pancake, syrup.
Actually, I've been brushing my teeth for 29 years, and I seem to be hit and miss.
We're doing what the cool people do. We let men abuse us.
Yeah.
We let men abuse us.
Dan, that's ridiculous. Dan, that's ridiculous.
Whiz bang, that's got some zip. Out of my dreams, get in the backseat,
That's what I'm
baby.
saying. You can't put Jesus in a song where they use the phrase "get in the back seat, baby."
The Beatles.
A little easier to look at than Mike.
It's called the Blueberry Ugly.
The Solomon Show. And welcome back to The Solomon Show, where we spend time on the 3 W's: wisdom, wives, and war with Palestine. My in-studio guest tonight is my arch nemesis, Secular. Thanks for coming on. Before we get started, let me just say this. You, sir, are a punk. The Solomon Show.
A new television show called Gunsmoke. No, I'm not it.
Hello, lady. Look at your man. Now back at me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Sadly, he isn't me. But if he stopped using lady-scented body wash and switched to Old Spice, he could smell like he's me.
The theme of the Life from the Path program is find cool people, bring them in, and then kind of parasite yourself onto them. We're also talking to Andy and Kelly. Supernauts live in studio. Double J's in studio. We Are Leo is in studio. Rick Charlton's in.
We are joined by John Waller. Hey, John.
In studio, we got Pants Talkbox Whetstone.
We're in studio with Kevin Lindgren.
Jessa and Jordan Anderson have joined us in the studio.
We are joined by Don Hensley. Shane Manhart is in studio with us. Wayne Stewart is here. Chris Day. Jeff Arendale and company are in studio today.
My monkeys, when we were younger, we had monkeys.
God said that we are to make love.
Modest is hottest. I'm moving to Europe.
I'm going to tell you something. This is the best show we've ever done.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for coming back with us.
Sweet Moses.
That's the back of my head.
Yeah. I took over the guest spot. Ask me questions. I'll tell you what I'm about.
Why do you have such a funny haircut?
That's because I cut it myself.
Why don't you go to the Fantastic
Get that
Sam's?
vacuum
Because
cleaner
I'm poor. Because I spend my money frivolously on stupid things.
Like power amps?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking to buy. Power amp.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. If you're just joining us, you missed a really cool first hour with Ryan Paul Buck. Make sure you go to ryanpaulbuck.com and check out more information about him.
I feel like I could have arm wrestled him.
Well, I think it's very possible.
And I could have won.
Yeah.
But that's all. That was the only impression that I had.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, good.
I mean, his tunes were fantastic, and he's obviously extremely talented. So I thought there's no use in trying to beat him in his own game, you know. So I think
well, we won't go that route.
Find somebody who's not good.
I think we should arm wrestle him or something.
I wonder if he's a good juggler.
Yeah.
Or how well he is at ping pong.
He probably doesn't broom right. You know, he's one of those guys that brooms with more of a push than a pull. You know, those guys are worthless at the broom. Seriously.
I was sitting in the hall for one of his tunes right before I came in, and there were a few times where like I thought it was gonna end. He came back rocking. It was like 3 times. It was like
he's
slowing.
You know
down,
what he does? He's
rocking.
He's a tune orchestrator. You know, like he'll let it die down and then he'll just come, rolling back in. Which obviously, I mean, that doesn't translate to the brooming world. But in the music world, it's if you're like a rise and fall broom man, once again, you're just not that important.
So there you go. Here's what we got coming up in the second hour. We're going to give some advice. People need help. People need help out there, and they're saying, "Dear Life from the Path, I just need some help." So we're gonna see if we can dole out some our best attempt at godly wisdom. So we're gonna give that a shot, and then also we're gonna continue in our exploration of the 50 proofs that God is not real. If you go to godisimaginary.com, he's got 50 proofs that he says God is not real. Last week we talked about prayer. I'm going to hit on that. I just got a couple other thoughts from that, so we're going to hit that real quick, and then we'll move on. Number 1 and 2 were both prayer-based, so we're going to hit number 3, and we're going to see what the godisimaginary.com guy has to say about God, and see if we can come to some kind of resolution on that particular item.
Very cool.
All right, so let's hit the advice, Mike. What do you got?
Okay, so we got Dear Life from the Path. How important are a dying person's last wishes? My dad died recently and said that he wanted to be buried with his first wife in a state far from where we live. If his estate or his current wife can't afford to comply with his request, would it be horrible to do something else? In today's economy, most seniors don't have any extra income. To follow Dad's final wishes would take a sizable chunk of his estate. His wife feels it's not important to follow his last wishes because of the cost, but it really bothers me. Dad was in the Navy during World War II. If his wife isn't willing to spend the money, would I still be a good guy by scattering his ashes in the ocean? I know he'd rather be in the deep than sitting on a shelf in the work shed. Please help. Fellas, Nathaniel.
Yeah, do whatever you want with him. He's dead. He didn't care anymore.
You don't think it's important to honor his last wishes?
No. I mean, he's dead.
Now, hold on. Make sure you're answering the question correctly. Now, the question is not whether you would care whether someone honored your last wishes or whether you would even have last wishes to care about. The question is this man has given his preferences as his last wishes. Should they be honored?
Nah. I don't think it's that important.
No.
No.
Note to self, don't have Nathaniel near you.
No doubt. He will not be my power of attorney.
Nathaniel, here's my last $20. Make sure my wife gets it. Oh yeah, right, sure. yeah.
After my finder's fee.
I'll get that right there.
By the way, I took his left thumb from my mantle. You're a weird dude.
What can I say? I love thumbs.
Chat says it's very important.
So it's a son, and he's okay with cremation because he talked about maybe scattering his ashes in the sea. So if they're doing the ashes thing, it's not that expensive no matter where you go because you already have him as ashes. You can put him in the trunk of your car, and it's not like a body.
Now, will they bury ashes? Like, let's say you already own the plot, right? And so could you have him cremated in Ohio, drive him to Florida?
Absolutely.
And then bury him next to his wife as ashes?
Yes.
That seems like a better solution to me.
Then that's economical. I mean, it's not like you don't send the body there to have.
I assume
cremated.
the body transport is the expensive part.
I would think so.
Now, are you allowed to transport a dead body?
No.
Like, that's illegal?
Illegal, yeah.
Even if it's like my own dad?
Exactly.
Well, that's crap, man. Who owns it?
I don't make the rules.
Yeah, that's not fair. Who owns my dad after he died?
They think it's a health issue or something, zombies or something. I don't know what it is.
It would be like carrying animal carcasses around. I mean, there's not really much of a difference.
Like tag for that
bodies.
It's my grandma.
Yeah, I don't see the animal control guy getting a bunch of snake from the state, you know? I feel like I should be able to transport my old man wherever he wants to go, in the back of my Buick, sitting him up like he's a passenger.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but there are officials who would have problems.
It's a red tape of this country.
I tell you.
Okay, so either way, I think that cremation's not a bad idea.
I think you cremate them and you honor them.
I assume he already owns the plot, right? It's not like it's next to his wife.
Probably. I mean, it's a little awkward to tell your current wife, "Hey, I would like to be buried with my former wife."
Is it, or to be buried by both? We have some kind of cemetery harem. Like that, wouldn't that be kind of awkward?
Yeah.
How do them? Well, never mind.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it. This is why the Lord set it up the way He did. You know what I'm saying? Just marry one time.
I was wondering, how does like a Utah cemetery work?
I don't know.
It's like a circular thing, a whole bunch of women around.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know.
Creepo.
Okay, so I'm on board with the cremation and Harlem.
Yeah, I think it's a good.
But let's say you can't. Let's say he said I don't want to be cremated. This is what I want. Like let's say his dying wishes are, I only want to be flown to Florida and buried in Florida.
Here's the deal. If it can't be done, like dollar-wise it can't be done, I would have to assume, unless this guy's a real jerk. Well, actually, let's take the premise that he's a jerk, okay?
Okay.
If he's a jerk, I'm not going to spend a lot of money trying to honor his wishes. If he's not a jerk, then I think he would rather I not be, like, put out selling my car just to get him to Florida.
Yeah.
With his remains.
He's making an inconvenience on his current wife if it's a big part coming out of the estate. Is it an estate, though? I'm assuming all of it goes to her.
Yes.
I mean, so is that really an estate? It's now she takes over the finances. I mean,
right.
Like an estate, you sell everything and divide it. But so he's asking his current wife to reconnect him with his former wife. I wouldn't have a problem with her not doing that if he wanted to have the body transported and all that stuff and all this expense. I want it to be a pain for you, cost you a lot of money, and I don't care where you get buried, but I'm with,
It just seems like an extremely selfish thing to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, after you're dead, what honestly do you really care? Like, I would more disagree with the old man that he's putting people in some straits here. Like, I would hope, like, I'm it's probably very hard. I haven't had to bury a spouse. I don't know what that feels like. I'm sure it's awful. But, like, I would hope that, my wife would just cremate me and call it a day and be done.
Now, wait a minute. It just occurred to me. His ex-wife's already dead.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily like they got divorced.
No.
I was kind of thinking this through. What are you doing? But yeah, it's like he had his first wife, so they could have got married late, and maybe they've only been married 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we don't know that. That's totally reasonable, unless it's going to cost a ton of money. Because I was first thinking that's kind of hurtful.
I feel like you're kind of on the fence, Dan. You're not really steering us in any direction here.
Well, no, I think you do the cremation and then do it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay, now Nathaniel, after listening to this conversation, are you say like you're still on whatever? Screw the old man. I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of what you're summing it up to.
No.
His wishes are being carried through.
Yeah.
You're just sending the cremains instead of the.
Now, some of the older generation are opposed. That there was a big deal, and it kind of addressed in the chat here.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Christians back in the day were opposed to cremation because it was maybe a little too close to some pagan rituals at death. I personally don't have a problem.
Yeah,
I figure I'll be cremated. And
to the extent, like it says, the body is the temple. It is as such because God is coming to live, like the Holy Spirit is coming to live within you. At the time that you die, I don't think your soul left, but Christ is like the Holy Spirit's hanging around in your remains.
Right. The body's no longer the
puppeting
temple when
yourself
you're gone.
around.
Yeah, so
hanging
like-
out in your coffin, wondering, hey, man, it's a little stuffy in here. You
So
know?
Watch me twitch your finger. It's gonna be great.
I would
Father,
say,
what you say?
So like think of it that way. It's the temple as you live. Once you die, you are joining God in heaven. The
Yeah.
Holy Spirit is not remaining in your deceased body, so it is not the temple where God resides. And frankly, I don't think it matters.
Yeah,
that's where
I
I'm
agree.
Oh, okay. So here is secular advice. Your letter illustrates why it is important for people to have their wishes in writing. In this case, your father's wife would have the right to his ashes unless it was stated otherwise in black and white. As far as granting a personal last wish, you need to use your best judgment, particularly if doing so would cause financial hardship. In this case, cremation would be a creative way to make everyone happy. This is where she turned from us. Your father's ashes could be divided into thirds, with one portion placed on his first wife, another with his second wife, and the rest scattered at sea.
I hope I get the legs. I mean, doesn't that seem weird?
I don't know about splitting that into three. I would just, I think I'd say, look, you just keep my third, and
it's creepy. You go to cemetery or to funeral homes these days, and you get to the crematory part, and they have like little lockets that you can have like your loved one's ashes in a locket that you wear around your neck. And that just creeps me.
I get that stuff. It's just not for me. Like it's just not for me. I just don't. I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't creep me like, ooh, they have a dead person, but it's just kind of like, go ahead and let him, just bury him. I mean, let the memory cherish that, but keep a shirt.
Yeah. It's his old cologne.
Ooh, this still smells like John.
If he mixed Old Spice and Aquavelva, just keep a mixture at your place and spray it around.
It is kind of like holding on to a femur just with some heat added. I mean, it's the same basic principle as if you had like one of his legs hanging up in your dining area above the mantle.
Right.
Have you ever seen cremains?
Huh.
I kind of liken it. Not that I've seen a lot, but I've seen some. I liken it to like, do you know the old days they had like the white sand and the ashtrays?
Yeah.
That's what made me think
That's
of
what
it.
it's like.
That's what I didn't like touch it, but I mean to look at it.
Yeah. The chat was saying, to answer the question about the ashes, they have buildings on some cemeteries. You can buy a drawer and then like put up a plaque. I think it's nice to have a place to go. I mean, even if it's just like a formality thing, is to we're gonna go visit so and so, and it's just a time to think about them, and you have to go somewhere to do it, not like casually. I mean, if you have them up in the living room or whatever, you could have ran naked between the bathroom and your bedroom in front of that urn not 10 hours ago, and then it's hard to like step in front of it like, oh, now we're gonna spend our memories.
It's our memory time.
Like that locket thing just seems weird to me. Like it just your daily routine is like, okay, got my wallet, got my keys, got my uncle. I don't know. It's different.
It's not for me. I think I don't know where people do that for. I just don't think I could. I don't think I would.
Okay. Dear Live from the Path, my spouse, Jack, and I were married 4 years ago. 3 years ago, he made me choose between him and my then 7-year-old son. I haven't spoken to or seen my son for 3 years. Not having my child in my life has made me become depressed, but I keep it bottled up inside. Jack has 3 kids, all adults. We rarely see them. I brought 2 children into our marriage, ages 7 and 14. Jack says he doesn't want to be a father or a grandfather. We have 3 grandchildren. I am scared to question why it is like this. Am I a terrible mother, grandmother? Does this mean he doesn't really love me since my children are a part of me? I want to be a grandmother and enjoy my grandkids. He knew I had kids when we were dating, but both of them lived with relatives at the time because of custody issues.
All right, I'm gonna answer the direct question that she asked without tailoring it. And yes, you are a bad mother and grandmother. Yes, I would question that he loves you. He does not like your kids. Yes, everything that you are concerned that you are, that you are. You're trying to find someone in some kind of crazy liberal world to like give the impression that is not a problem. But yes,
this language is terrible, right? He made me choose between between him and my 7-year-old son, and I haven't seen my son for 3 years. Like, I was expecting it to say, and so we divorced immediately, or
I decided not to marry this man because he tried to get me to choose between my kids.
How did they not have that conversation before marriage? I mean, she sounds like she's old enough; she should know better. Although, if there's custody issues, there's probably evidence that there's some things she doesn't do well in relationships.
See, like, I read this and like it just breaks your heart, right? Because this is what happens when you get so far out of the Bible that you're looking for advice on things where God has been so clear, so distinct about how marriage and kids and a spousal relationship works, that there was no woman on earth that would accept a deadbeat like that. Yeah. Like, seriously, he's a terrible excuse for a man. A terrible excuse for a man.
It's always true. You violate Scripture, it leads to pain. And here's a gal filled with pain. She was in pain before. She was in pain when she met the guy. She was in pain when she made all these poor choices that violated Scripture. And now her son's in pain. Her family's in pain. Her husband's in. I mean, there is all a bunch of pain.
I don't know. Like usually we go through pretty lighthearted questions here, right? Like, ha ha ha, this guy's a doofus. Ha ha ha, he doesn't get social situations. But like, someone is actually like, this is a true story for somebody. My husband told me that I had to choose between him and my son, and I kicked my 7-year-old son out. To where? Where did you send your kid? Like, I don't care who it is. It's not with you.
Yeah.
Like he was in your custody before.
I don't know. Maybe someone that makes that such terrible decisions, like maybe the kid's in a better spot.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That it's just sad. Yeah, it's just sad.
Well, I think there's a danger because you can hear this situation, and if your reactions go, "Oh man, that's a terrible circumstance she finds herself in," and I would say, "No, that's a terrible circumstance of which she created by previous decisions." Like, I think you can lament the fact of like where the whole situation sits, but where societally where we usually go is we like, "Oh man, that kind of stinks. I hope things work out," or here's a way to deal with your current situation, as opposed to like reassessing how we ended up in this spot. And how we ended up in this spot is a separation of our responsibilities as parents, of an understanding of what marriage should be. And I think like the societal argument tends to eliminate God by ignoring the consequences that created the circumstance and just saying, "Oh man, everybody has a rough circumstance. We should encourage people in their circumstances," as opposed to learning something from that. We completely ignore the past and thus ignore God and end up somewhere, and we're like, "I can't believe we ended up here. How did life go this way?"
Instead of saying, "Look, I hope things get better for you," saying, "I hope you start making better decisions."
Yeah.
And stop acting so selfishly.
Life didn't deal you a bad hand. Like, you jumped in a game you were losing and then like started dancing on the table.
Right. Like, this is a prime example of the opposite of humble servanthood as a parent. Humble servanthood as a husband. Like, these are just selfish, not God-centered, not people-oriented decisions. Like, they're just not good. Like, it's the ditching of responsibility for your version of happiness, which is obviously shallow and is not attained the way that I don't know. It's just sad for both of them. Like, Jesus doesn't seem to be anywhere in this. Otherwise someone would go, "Hey, wait a minute. A man that gives me that ultimatum is not a man at all. He's just a controlling doofus."
Well, and I suppose it's probably worth looking at it from the perspective of the saddest part is the start of this, where this woman doesn't have an image of what a proper father looks like, of what a proper husband looks like, right? So like without understanding, where I take my image of what a father and a husband should look like comes from the example of Christ and God the Father. Without that, yeah, you're prone to making weird choices. You set weird standards. Your standard becomes not, how do they live up to where God wants them to live? It becomes, how do they make me feel? And if you're basing decisions based upon that, which frankly, if you've thrown out God, I mean, there's not a lot of other options as to make your decisions. That's the world that we live in. Is like, if there's otherwise not a compelling reason to make a decision on what God wants me to do, then I just make a decision on what I want to do, and how I feel about them is the primary motivator. With me as God, my motivation is to please me and honor me, and so, I respond to a situation. She obviously chose him, which means there's something about that where she felt loved, or gratification or something. But all of that comes from a worldview in which she does not have was denied or neglected or something in a circumstance to understand what that husband should look like, what a father should look like, what her role as a parent. I mean, I can't imagine. I suppose it's possible her parents were top notch, but I mean, like, to have the vision of parenthood that she has would either imply a potential drug use or serious psychotic problems, or like a weird family environment in which you just don't. You don't
make that
weird
stuff
decisions.
up.
Yeah.
So okay, let's pretend this gal suddenly becomes a Christ follower, and she comes in and she's on the Life from the Path couch, and she says, what do I do now? She's made these huge decisions outside of Christ in rebellion against God, but now she wants to honor God. What's her first move?
That's the tough part, right?
Yeah. It's like, okay, you've made this vow. You have a child from a previous relationship.
I would say her.
Is this okay? So this, I'm asking you theologically for help here, right? Because I say the man's not doing his job. It sounds like grounds divorce to me, but it's not, right?
No, it's not.
Because he's basically kicked out a kid for his own selfish reasons, and so, like, can she take responsibility of her child back and just
that would I would say her responsibility is for the kid. She is not denying her vow to the man. Now, I don't know that he won't divorce her. That's possible. But I would say her responsibility is to the child. She, even if it causes her to have to move out, if it causes her to have to care for the kid, I would say that is a responsibility of hers. And then she has a relationship issue to deal with the husband. My guess is the husband will divorce her. I don't think she should divorce the husband.
Can you do that, knowing that the move will lead to divorce? That just seems like a one step away from doing it anyway.
I mean, that violates the whole submission thing.
But she has a responsibility for the kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
and one to her husband.
Yeah. She's not required to submit to a non-biblical direction from a husband.
I see. That's where I'm at.
She doesn't. I don't. Biblically, I don't think there's a stance for divorce. But like
1 Peter, where's that?
But it's not like your top submission is submission to God, right? And so like if your submission to the husband's leadership is to provide direction that is outside of God, then otherwise you're not required.
And wives, in the same way, be submissive to your husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives when they see the purity and reverence of your lives. Your beauty should come, yada yada. So that's being submissive even to an unbeliever.
Agreed, unless that person is asking you to violate submission to Christ.
Right, like do it Old Testament style. Like let's say they were married and he's like, we're going to start sacrificing to Baal. That's what we're going to start doing, and you're going to do it. And you say, no, I'm not. I won't. And he says, yes, you will.
I mean, I tell you what, these verses here in 1 Peter 3 are a little crazy, because then, one of the examples is Sarah, who Abraham said, oh, she's my sister. I mean,
what?
That's not, that wouldn't be submission to Christ.
I don't know that the Bible validates it that Abraham was appropriate there.
Right, but they're saying, let's be a little more like Sarah. I'm just saying this is a sticky situation.
Yeah.
They're so far out of the will of God. I don't think it's that easy to just say, well, you got to go with the child, or you go with the husband, or I mean, I like your line of thinking of saying, okay, you got to get right with your child. Has it been 2 years now? 3 years?
3.
Who's now 10, and you got to be responsible here. Or maybe the best thing, like someone said, maybe she's just such a poor mother.
So does God validate each additional marriage that you have? Let's say you have a marriage, and then you divorce, and then you have a marriage, and you divorce, and marriage number 3, you're married, and you're like, whatever. Like, is each additional marriage just keep being validated? Like, okay, you're still part of a marriage, or is it like the first one is the one that was intended, or?
Yeah, I think it all depends. There's so many circumstances. Why is the marriage not still going on? If I'm married to Bathsheba, and I decide, I don't know if I like her hair. I'm more of a blonde person, so I divorce her and marry a blonde. Scripture says I'm committing adultery in the second relationship. So basically, if you biblically, if you make that mistake, you get divorced, then you pretty much just don't get remarried.
I guess
I'm a pretty hard liner on that.
I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like if this is her second marriage, the first one, and the first husband is still alive, does she owe any type of loyalty to this sinful second marriage to this guy? It's not a godly marriage anyway.
Yeah, that's what I say. This is such a mess. The whole thing's just a mess. It's hard to really wade through this stuff. For me, I sit there and
I feel like a lot of this stuff is under grace and not law. Like I feel a lot of it is under God's grace. Because right, it gets so messed up. It's not like they're attempting to adhere to God's law. Like it's just been abandoned, and so it just feels like it's all God's grace stuff. Like you do what you can. Like if the wife finds Christ and the man wants absolutely nothing to do with it, kicks and fighting, I said, look, you get your kid, you do your job, and make him divorce you. I guess I don't know. I don't know how you could support staying in that relationship. Like it says, look, I'm turning my life over to Christ. These are the things that are not going to happen anymore. He goes, oh, yeah, they are. This is what's going to happen. You're not bringing that kid back in here. I don't want him here. I don't want him. And so now she's got to make the choice again. Does she pick between her son or her husband? Does she pick between Christ or her husband? I can't live a Christ life in this house.
Well, so, I mean, I know. I think it depends on the husband's leadership as to whether he's actually leading them away from Christ. Like if he's doing things, if he's not serving Christ. I mean, the biblical example for women is to continue to act in a way of which, you know, the husband can eventually come to Christ. So like, I mean, that's a pretty clear example that like it does not give you license to just bail just because the guy's not following Christ. However, to the extent that he's leading you in a direction that is counter to your relationship with Jesus, that is like asking you to do things that are otherwise sinful, I think that's my reading is that is where your submission is.
I mean, there is in no case where God says, I want you to sin to accomplish my deeds.
Correct. Right. The means ends the ends never justify the means.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would agree with that. I don't think biblically it gives you license to divorce though. I mean, to the extent, I mean, if you get out of a situation, I think you're pulling yourself out of a particular set of circumstances, but that does not biblically give you the basis to sever the relationship, the covenant, completely, because it's not yours to sever. You know, barring some of the stipulations that Jesus put. So I mean, it may be. I mean, this is what this gets very difficult because you're talking about circumstances in which, like the Bible handled 2 or 3 relatively direct items, and we have so perverted the culture that now you're asking questions that it's not that God didn't contemplate, but just Paul did not address.
Yeah.
But I think like to the extent he's asking the woman to raise her child in what I would consider a sinful manner, to basically negate her responsibility for the child. And I think that basically is something that she is not required to submit to because it is sinful direction in her relationship with her child. So she can reconcile with the child. I think that will cause relationship issues with her and the husband. I think she needs to try her best to work those out, and be allow his leadership in any ways that is not sinful. I think ultimately he will probably divorce her. She cannot control that. It's not her responsibility to try to refuse to sign. I don't know. I don't think she has the grounds to try to refuse to do this thing if he wants to institute it. But I think that's the plan of action. That's the only thing, the direction that I would give, I guess. Because I think he's asking her to be sinful in her relationship with her child.
Yeah.
So secular's advice is
the chat says Nathaniel looks lost.
Nathaniel looks tired.
Where am
I? Wait, we ain't getting Nathaniel's opinion.
Yeah,
on this.
Sorry, Nathaniel. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I agree with everything you said. Yeah.
He brings the soda.
The best color man of the biz.
Yeah, that's what I do. I bring soda. That's all I'm here for.
It says, it isn't that Jack doesn't love you. He appears to be. She doesn't know that for a fact. That's terrible. It isn't that Jack doesn't love you. He appears to be so preoccupied with his own needs, desires, and controlling you that he probably doesn't think about much else. That you are scared to question him speaks volumes about your relationship. If you want to be part of your children's and grandchildren's lives, you'll have to do so without his blessing or participation. You will also have to strengthen your backbone and emancipate yourself. We're 50-50 on that. Okay, I got one more quick one. Ready?
Okay.
Dear Live from the Path, one of my neighbors regularly uses his power equipment before 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings. I think that people should refrain from using loud machinery before 10 on weekends. Am I being unreasonable? Deb.
Yes, Deb, you're being unreasonable.
Yes, Deb. Yeah, Deb.
And let me put it this way. I think there's a courtesy item here. 10 a.m. I think is just a little stiff.
No, that's pretty late. Half the day is over.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say you go on to get up, and let's say you're residing your garage or something. You know, a man get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock on a Saturday, get the tools out by 8 o'clock. You want to be firing some stuff up.
Yeah.
I think before 7, you're really pushing it unless
That's
you
just
got
being
some
rude.
cool neighbors, you know. But
Yeah.
I think 8 o'clock that's reasonable, right?
Yeah. People are up. Things are happening.
I mean, Deb, live in the country if you don't like living next to people who are carrying on their lives that make a little bit of noise.
And don't have roosters.
Hey, you know what? Okay, so that brings up a question. Something that I was reading had to do with like privacy rights. There was a couple that was a lady that was living in an apartment, and apparently the couple that lived next door was loud in their activities.
Oh.
Got it.
Okay, so
Like cooking and stuff.
Things of that nature, sure. Okay, so anyway, she records this, and they're that loud, she can get a clear recording from within her apartment, and then post it on the internet. And the question is that a violation of privacy for her having? She didn't put their names, but said sounds coming from 4B. Maybe this will embarrass them enough to try to keep it under control. And so, yeah. So like the question is like, do you have a right to just?
I think so. If it's on your property, that's the way it happens.
I mean,
I don't know that I'd make a big deal out of it. You know, like
apparently they were outrageous. That was the way.
I mean, if it was like included, like, you know, inappropriate words and stuff, then maybe I'd have something to say about it. But like, I don't know.
If you're that loud, you want people to hear, and you might as well. I mean,
things are going good at your place. You know,
they said like there was a lawyer that got in there, and his basically thing was, he's like, well, it may or may not be prosecutable. He goes, you didn't leave any personal information there to identify them. It's probably enough to embarrass them. There are laws in certain states about recording people without telling them. But to the extent that you're sitting in your
what
own
are you
house,
gonna do? Bound on the wall? I'm recording
Excuse
this.
Maybe it would help. I thought it was an interesting discussion because, like, I would.
If you just shouted, "I'm recording this," they would think something.
Wouldn't you rather? Would you like to be the one-man wrecking crew that ruined their sex life? You know, like things are going well, and then you're like Mr. Namby-Pamby, and so now they got to try to keep quiet or keep it under wraps. That stinks.
Now here's the deal. So, like, we're talking about audio recording, right? Because you say, I'm in my own house. I can hear it. It's not my fault. It's intruding on me.
they're broadcasting into your walls.
Right. But I mean, it would be. That's pretty close to the same thing as looking out your window, which is a view that you purchased with your video camera out and taking a shot of it.
Yeah, that's illegal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't do that.
What, seriously? Well then,
better stop.
Well, that's a conundrum. I never thought of it that way.
It's pretty much the same thing. Like that image is able to be seen from your house without you doing anything. You're not going out and seeking it.
Well, except for you're using technology.
So it could be that this couple just is kind of hard of hearing, and they have to be allowed to hear each other.
Maybe they're old people. Maybe
it's not. I don't know what you say. Maybe that says something.
Let's not explore that. Anyway,
hold on. Does it make it any different if they're like 85?
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's cute if they're 85.
I'd say so. That's cool. Okay. So what are we at? 10 a.m.
The chat says go talk to. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think the lady even needs to go to talk to him. I think she just needs to butt out at 10 a.m. Don't you think that's? I think that's a little late. I think she's being unreasonable.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Mike. What's the secular advice?
The secular advice for the 10 a.m. restriction is not in my book. Most municipalities have noise ordinances in place that regulate sound levels that might become an annoyance. To find out if there's one in your neighborhood, inquire at City Hall. If there isn't, consider gathering signatures on a petition so regulations can be established. You may not be the only neighbor who's bothered by this.
Whatever. She's a freaking annoyance. I'm going to
Yeah.
turn her in.
I'm going to tell you what. This is what's wrong with America. I don't like you using the weed eater at 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to go tell Frank I'm having sign stuff, and we're going to go down to the hall and blah, blah, blah. Get out of the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Just go live somewhere else.
Now, it has driven us crazy before when the only day of the week, and it's not every Saturday, that we could, whatever we call sleep in, and our retired neighbor next door, is mowing at 6 a.m. And it's like, really? I mean, you have nothing to do all week long but sit in a lawn chair and go, hey, and it's like, really? You chose? But we don't get that upset. We're just like, and then we get up and make a bunch of noise.
Why is it old retired dudes like to do that? They do. They like to be up at 6 in the morning doing yard work. I mean, that require electronic equipment. I just don't get it.
They go to bed at like 7. What do you expect?
Well, couldn't they mow before they go to bed? It's still light out.
No, their bones creak at after 5. They're full from the old country buffet at 4:30, and then they gotta let it digest.
Chat says Des Moines has a law that says 9 a.m. Can't mow before 9 in Urbandale.
What a bunch of yuppies. Seriously, let a guy cut his grass. When's the working man supposed to get this stuff done? You know what I'm saying? You work 40 hours a week. You come home. Let's say you're trying to live the Jesus life. So you got to spend the nighttime with your family. Put your kids to bed. Teach them the Bible. Pray with your wife. Serve your family. Take care of some stuff. And then Saturday morning rolls around, and that grass has got to get mowed by somebody. So you put it off till 11 o'clock. You might as well just chuck the day. Because by the time you get the mower out, find out you're out of gas, go back up, get some gas.
Time for lunch.
Then it's time to get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, your whole Saturday will be gone. Sunday shows up, now you're back serving the Lord at church. So you get up early there, you get out of the house, and you're gone most of the day serving Jesus. By the time you get home at 2 o'clock, everybody's tired.
Yeah.
Your family's taking a nap, so then you can't run the mower. So the weekend's gone. When's a good Christ-loving man going to mow his yard?
When's he going to go to the bank?
You get direct deposit.
Internet bank.
Yeah.
And you hire someone to do the lawn.
I can take pictures of my check with my phone.
Jesus does not provide me with enough money to have someone mow my lawn. I feel like I need more penance. I don't know.
I don't know about that penance. All right, hey, you're listening to Live from the Path. That was some good advice. If this was you, if you were into the items, any of the people that submitted for the advice this week, I'm very sorry that you've ended up in these type of circumstances. Pull yourself together. Yep. Love Jesus and just start talking to people.
Open up a Galatians.
We'll send our bill.
You're being a curmudgeon. All right. So hey, let's. Oh man, time is a flying. Let's see if we can hit this. So we've been talking about GodIsImaginary.com. Basically, guys got 50 proofs that God is imaginary. Last week we talked a little bit about prayer, and there was something. Who's talking? What are you guys talking about?
Nathaniel touched my leg underneath the table, and I didn't want to make a big thing out of it, but he's making a big thing out of it.
No.
So the premise of number 1 and number 2 are basically that prayer is false. If you pray for something, Jesus says that if you pray for something, it will be given unto you. And he goes through some various picking and choosing in Scripture without giving the full counsel of God. And there's a lot to digest in that thing. But I think here's a thing to look at. His basic premise was everyone prays tonight in the name of Jesus to have all cancer cured, and we should be able to expect that it is done. And so I think ultimately it comes down to on his view of prayer is he's just looking at prayer wrong. First of all, everybody praying that prayer that is to be answered by God comes at the aid of the Holy Spirit. You are going to be praying stuff that God will otherwise say yes to. If everyone is praying, that obviously does not add any force to it. These are guys, you're just basically toying with God and saying, do what I want. God is not here to serve you, you are to serve him. So the thought that you will just tell him what to do, test the Lord thy God, I might add.
Which Jesus and parts of Deuteronomy specifically said do not do.
Yeah. True. So that is doing that. So that's going to be a problem. Also, it assumes that disease is something that otherwise was not part of God's plan. He's well aware of it. He talks in Leviticus about sending disease to people. I send, and I create the blind. I create the deaf. These are things God is aware of. They're not surprises to him. Some are just simply consequences of the way that people live, of which are naturally and intended. And to take that away would otherwise, he obviously is aware of these things. It also assumes that cancer is inherently bad, which is interesting coming from an atheist perspective, which has gotten rid of God. So, there is no firm good or bad. That is open for interpretation. I think generally you would say that cancer rarely turns out well, but circumstances can be what they may, of which there could be a positive impact on someone's life for being sick. But it is on the underlying assumption is that we all can agree on what is good and bad, and cancer is implicitly bad. Which is a moralistic view of which atheism would not subscribe to, because there's not a firm judgment on what is good or bad.
There's not a moral authority.
It is in the eyes of everyone. And the other question, and I thought that was interesting, was what an atheist would accept as an answer to prayer. And that's their standard of what is an acceptable answer requires the miraculous. Right, because if I say I was in financial trouble and I prayed to God for help, and if my uncle showed up and gave me $500, they say, well, that's just a coincidence. Your uncle just happened to give you $500. Or if I won the lottery, well, that's just a coincidence. You won the lottery. Or I got a raise at work. Anyway, those are just coincidences, things that happen. So the only circumstance in which they would accept that God has interjected would be package from God. Here's $500.
Right, that God does not use His own creation and the organization that He set up in it to provide things for you.
Yes. And so from a standpoint, the reason the prayer discussion will never go anywhere with someone that comes from an atheistic perspective is that the outset of their belief system disregards any possibility for supernatural activity, and for prayer to be true in their perspective would require supernatural activity. So it's self-defeating to the extent that they've proposed something of which they on the outset do not believe.
Right.
Cannot happen.
Right.
Everything else is a worldly coincidence. The only proof that they would accept that God has worked a miraculous prayer answer, and not through His creation, but just something that just happened out of anywhere, would be something miraculous of which they on the offset do not believe, and so it's self-refuting. So that's the basis for someone who says, I don't believe in prayer. They're coming from a perspective which God, they do not believe in a God that answers prayer, and both of which would require miraculous things, and they would say, well, I don't believe in miraculous things, so it's not prayer that they don't believe in. They don't believe in supernatural, which would then preclude prayer.
Right.
So there you go.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. There you go. Everybody love it. So here's number 3 on the list. God is imaginary. 50 proofs that God is imaginary. Proof number 3, look at historical gods. The belief in quote-unquote God seems to be ubiquitous through the ages. We know, for example, that the ancient Egyptians believed in their gods so fervently that they built massive structures like the Great Pyramids, still today one of the largest and most enduring human constructions ever created. Despite that, we know with complete certainty today that the Egyptian gods were imaginary. Most recently, we know that tens of millions of Romans worship Jupiter and his friends, and to them they built magnificent temples. The ruins of these temples are popular tourist attractions even today. Much more recently, we know that the Aztec civilization believed in their gods so intensely that they constructed huge temples and pyramids. Today's God, in quotes, is just as imaginary as were these historical gods. The fact that millions of people worship a god is meaningless. So the basic premise is that God is imaginary because historically, look at all the people that have believed in false gods or imaginary gods.
That's a ridiculous argument. I mean, it has nothing to do with it. What other people believe or think or have done in the past have nothing to do with faith in Jehovah God. That's like saying, I believe in black ants, and he says, no, there's red ants, so there can't be black ants. It's like, well, it has nothing to do with the fact whether there's red ants or not.
It's like if Dan says, I'm a clown, and you're not, like, I'm a professional clown, and they say, well...
Wait, Dan didn't let the example finish, and he goes, yeah. He says, let's say Dan's a clown. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm with you.
I like where this is going.
So Dan says,
Can I juggle?
I'm a professional clown, and I find out that Dan is not a professional clown, which means that there are no professional clowns. That's the logic inherent in this thing.
Yeah.
So it is ridiculous. It's not a mode of
fail.
Logic. Yeah.
Number 3 is a fail.
I'm actually pretty disappointed in this because, like, the prayer thing, the guy actually took some effort to try to put together.
Yeah. He cited
correctly.
It was a clever argument. Bible verses. It wasn't bad, you know.
Yeah. But here he's just saying other things were false. So, like, you can't stand on the principle that because so many now to the extent that he says because so many people believe it doesn't make it true. That's accurate. I agree with that perspective. But because other people were wrong doesn't make me wrong.
Yeah.
It just means other people were wrong. So
that is pretty weak, boy. I'm kind of disappointed.
That's really weak.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's a fairly well. I'm sure he fancies himself.
He thinks himself as being pretty intelligent,
to be fairly astute. But like that one,
and we're pretty not.
That one, yeah, that's right. I mean, we're a table full of dummies.
Yeah.
But the Lord Jesus picked that one right out and said, "Come on, boys.
No,
seriously. If you're gonna if you're gonna be on the opposite side of Jehovah, you best bring your A game." You know what I'm saying?
It's an interesting too from an atheistic perspective because that is there is no God. That is from a strength in numbers. That's a very minor position, is it not? Because the one thing that we have in common, say with Islam and the Jewish religion, consistently there's a God, right? All three of those, which makes up the vast majority of people, leanings, commitment, or otherwise, right, believe that there is a God, even if it's not the same one, right? So the minor position, the vast minority position, is that there is no God at all. And so the only way to justify that is the strength in numbers argument is completely wrong. So he's not just saying Christians are wrong. You're also saying Muslims are wrong, the Jews are wrong, Hindus, Buddhists, like pick one. Anybody that believes in a higher power, you're saying that they are also wrong. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's kind of a weird perspective. He's got this on the Jesus side, but, like, seriously, you're saying that about every religion that is not atheist.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and he's got 50, right? 50 reasons.
Yeah.
So,
hold on.
so some have to be weak.
Are there just as many like blog postings and anti Muslim theology websites?
No, they'll kill you. That's fierce, man.
Well, it just like it always just like I always go back to like if they find a kangaroo meat in the Burger King hamburger, 2 years later everybody thinks it was McDonald's because McDonald's is the forerunner in the fast food industry, and so like it seems like if Jesus Christ didn't have the power that he did and claimed to be the God that he is, would he be taking so much fire? I mean, you don't see the Buddhist religion taking so much heat. There's not like an anti-Buddhist blog where there's website upon website of guys stewing their beard reading the Buddhist calculations going, hey, this is why the Buddhists are wrong. I thought the world should know. Because they don't care. They're not a threat.
Yeah, the reason for that is because Buddhism is not a threat to people's themselves as gods. Right? In fact, it pretty much promotes that type of thing. You're always looking at your inner self, your inner being, what I want, what I feel, what I am, as ultimately a promotion from me as a living being to God. A lot of the other religions have you behaving in a certain way where you become God as opposed to God coming to you. And so, like, it's not a threat to how you live your life. It doesn't tell you what to do. It doesn't tell you how to be. It just says, look more at yourself, think about yourself, do for yourself. I mean, and there's some moral things that would be in agreement with Christianity in some of those, but like ultimately the broad thing is a be moral for self-worship, not be moral for God worship. And so I mean it's just not a threat to anybody.
No,
Jesus is a threat because Jesus says change your life, submit to me.
Right. You're gonna have to stop doing this, or you're gonna have to start doing that. And people go, I don't want to get up in here earlier at 6 o'clock to mow my lawn. My neighbors will hate me.
Okay, well that was it. I don't know. That was
yeah, I thought we were gonna have to. I mean, usually that guy's pretty in depth. I thought we were gonna have to hash it out for a while, but
well, he's got to give us a few softballs.
Yeah,
if he's gonna try to come up with 50. I mean, that's a lot. That was a filler one. That was let's see.
Okay, Ben, are you still on that website?
Yeah.
Take a look at on week 24 what we're going to hit. Let's see what the topic is.
Okay, week 24. Proof number 4. Ask why religion causes so many problems. Opening salvo. If God were to exist, wouldn't you expect there to be a huge benefit to those who follow and obey Him? Why instead do we see the opposite? So,
actually, who had the exact same lament in the Old Testament? I just read it.
Ezekiel?
No. It had to have been Jeremiah. Had to have been. Where he's like, why do these people continue to succeed? Why do the corrupt and the greedy continue to succeed, and the God living man just is down?
That's Jeremiah.
Yeah. And so like Jeremiah had this exact same lament. Why does this go down the way it does? I don't remember what God answered, so I just remember thinking Jeremiah.
Well, God's answer basically was that their time will come. Like we're always constricted by time, like the amount of time it takes for something to happen. God doesn't sweat that it's been 2 months, 2 years, 200 years. Like we sweat that because time has passed, but like it doesn't mean anything to God. He's like, I know the justice will be served. I'm just not worried about it. But it's the time concept that causes us problems. We feel like God is behind our schedule. That's a self-glory thing. That's bad. So anyway, we can look forward to that to 20
on week 24.
Yeah,
I'm pumped.
Are you going to read? You're not going to be here. Maybe. No.
That's quite a way from now. Yeah.
So anyway, next week
Christmas break.
We're going to move on to proof number 4, which is the title is "Think About Science." I'll dig in this a little more, see if I can categorize his basic premise. And then we will see if we can attack that. We'll hit that for next week.
There is 1 million good books on science backing up Jesus Christ. 1 million good books. Now, Ben, let's say someone wanted to see past shows or past clips from the shows.
I don't think it's possible.
That's no. Wait a minute, fellas. Now
Where would they go?
Don't lead people
What
astray
would they
here.
do?
Oh,
All right. You can check it out if you go to livefromthepath.org. There are links to sign up for the podcast. You can get that on a weekly basis. The audio version, get it downloaded straight to your personal music or audio listening device.
that's the way I do it.
That sounds confusing.
It's very easy, son.
Let me show you how to do this.
Very challenging.
Just click on the talk box.
Also, if you hit youtube.com/live from the path, you can catch clips from past shows. And actually, if you hang out on the YouTube channel, this is slightly confusing, and I'm sorry about this, but if you go to youtube.com/thepathonline, that will get you the full versions of the last 3 weeks of shows. So like we're moving to post everything's going to hang out on YouTube instead of we had a Blip TV channel, which you can still get to at livefromthepath.blip.tv. But if you go to if you do a search for us on YouTube, you'll find just do for Live from the Path, and you can pick out our full recordings are available all the time on YouTube, and that's on youtube.com/thepathonline, and you can check those out there. So all right,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, yes, Daniel, Mr. Brown, you can get it through iTunes, absolutely. You can sign up for the iTunes.
When's
for the
Mr.
audiocast.
Brown coming back on?
I don't know. I'll catch up with him sometime this week, and we'll figure out when they're coming in.
Okay.
They got lots to go. I've been waiting on an acoustic album. I mean, waiting.
Seriously, okay, this makes me mad, too. Just a quick heads up, Daniel Brown. So I sent Daniel Brown a Facebook message not 3 months ago saying, where's this acoustic album? Because me and my wife went to the show, and she loved it. Like, she really liked it. And I said, okay, so I got a gift card for iTunes for my birthday for like $50 from my in-laws. So I saved back $20 so I could make sure and get the Saved on Sunday album when it came out because my wife really enjoyed it. So I waited. And then I waited.
And
and then I said to Facebook to kind of see where the update thing was. And then I waited. And then I waited. And I got no response and no album.
They have no time for you.
I spent the $20.
We could be a major outlet for them.
I bought the Chicken Dance Party remix.
In our life.
Because my daughter wanted it. And so I ended up, and my kids know, I mean, they'll ask me, they're 4 and 2. Daddy, you got any money on the iTunes? I said, where do you kids come from? Seriously, what do you know about my money?
That's awesome.
And so they're like, well, we should get to Chicken Dance. I said, all right. I guess Saved on Sunday's going to have to wait for legitimate cash.
All right. Brown's got he's telling a sad tale. They're in quasi-legitimate streets.
Oh.
It's coming, he says.
I'm still mad. I mean, I feel for you, but I'm very upset. I said she loved the concert, right? That's the disappointing part. If they were terrible, I wouldn't give a rip. Like, I wouldn't want to buy the album. So, I think it should be uplifting that both my wife and I really enjoyed the concert. And I'm upset that it's not out. So that's a positive thing.
That's very positive.
I just said it in my kind of way, which sounds upset.
That's true. Okay, excellent.
I think Daniel Brown needs to collect some cans.
Yeah. Big money.
A lot of cans.
Are we going to distribute? We should do our own. What do you think about starting our own record label?
Let's do it.
The Live from the Path record label.
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, we garner so much attention now that I just can't imagine.
People are flocking to us. They ask for advice.
Yeah. I mean, we answer all the proofs. We're rock solid. We can be trusted with all your Christian needs.
We're going to start a music stand.
We could do our own version of the Bible. Who did that recently? Who was it?
Jimmy Carter?
Jimmy Carter.
Oh.
I thought he just did a commentary, not a.
Oh,
not
right.
Is it version.
Yeah, he rewrote stuff.
We could do a commentary.
Mess it up.
We could do an audio commentary.
We do a video commentary every
week.
We need to do another book.
Yeah, we got to do another book.
Okay, we got stuff to do. We'll talk about it
too. All right. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us on Live from the Path. I really appreciate it. We are on here every Monday night, 10 to midnight Central Time. And we'd love to have you join us on the chat. We want to talk about some Jesus stuff. We want to give some advice. We want to see what's going on with you so that we can. We're just some guys trying to stay on the path to Christ. Sometimes we're off, but we just want to try it on the same path. And we're just going to talk it out here on Live from the Path about honest faith, fierce grace, sometimes donkeys. You can catch us during the week at livefromthepath.org. Sign up for the podcast. Check out our clips on YouTube, youtube.com/Live from the Path for the clips. You can catch up with Ryan Paul Buck. Go to ryanpaulbuck.com. Get information about him, buy his CD, download it from iTunes or Amazon, catch him live sometime in August. We'll get some more information on that.
Come to my shows. I'll have them.
That's a ways out. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with us. You've been listening to Live from the Path.